right, let's swear everybody in.
Please raise your right hands. Do you solemnly swear the testimony you provide to the court and the matter now in hearing should be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth to help you God?
I do.
All right, Mr. Kearney, this is your petition. Are you asking for this harassment prevention order to issue?
Yes, that's correct.
All right, and Mr. Zachary Martin, do you consent to conducting this hearing by way of video conference?
Yes.
And are you opposed to the issuance of this harassment prevention order?
Yes.
All right, to all parties, in order for me to issue this order, I have to find there are 3 or more incidents that were willful and malicious, aimed at the plaintiff, Mr. Kearney, intended to cause him fear, intimidation, or abuse. And when I say fear of imminent bodily harm or property damage, and did in fact cause him fear, intimidation, or abuse. And if they're based upon words alone, they must be either determined to be by this court either true threats or fighting words. I'm going to hear from Mr. Kearney first in support of his request for the petition. Mr. Martin, when he's speaking, you're not going to interrupt him. I will then go to you, Mr. Martin, and hear from you. When he's speaking, Mr. Kearney, you're not going to interrupt Mr. Martin. If need be, I will come back to you for a response. Does everybody understand the procedure, Mr. Kearney?
Yes.
Mr. Martin?
Yes.
All right. Mr. Kearney, what brought you in here today for this request? And I'll hear you on those 3 incidents.
Mr. Martin has been contacting and harassing me with the intent to cause fear and bodily harm for the last 2 years, culminating with a swatting incident in which he made a false 911 call to the Holden Police Department claiming that I was suicidal. On March 22nd, Zach texted me and said he was coming to my house to kill me and to kiss my wife and kids goodbye one last time. He confirmed it was a threat when I asked, and I asked him to stop messaging me and to please leave me alone. That put me in fear. On March 23rd, Zach once again texted me and said he was outside my house. At the time, I was driving home with my 5-year-old son and could not go home because Zach has been known to show up at people's homes with the intent to cause bodily harm. He also appears to be mentally unstable, so I was too scared to go home with my son and had to have a neighbor go over there to check out to see if he was actually at the house. 3rd incident, on April 12th, Zach called me at 6:26 p.m. telling me that he was coming to my house to take care of me because I'm a, quote, pedophile. He uses that word a lot. I told him to stop contacting me. He said he would not. Then he made sexual comments about my children and wife and told me I would be getting a knock on the door soon. This put me in a state of fear and paranoia for the rest of the night. At 12:26 a.m. on April 13th, Zach once again called me, made threats to see me soon, and said he would never stop harassing and threatening me and my family. I then fell asleep. I missed calls from Zach at 1:30 and 1:52 a.m., but I was sleeping. At 2 p.m., I was put in a state of fear of bodily harm as someone began banging on my front door and shining lights into the house. It woke up my 7-year-old daughter and my wife, who barricaded in her room. I was so scared from the previous threats about a knock on the door from Zach that I grabbed a weapon to hit whoever was knocking. It turned out to be police because Zach had called 911 and said that I was suicidal and threatening to kill myself. He also posted a video on YouTube at 1:30, half an hour before the incident, showing my home and urging his followers to call Holden Police to report that I was suicidal. The caller gave Zach's phone number on the 911 call, which I obtained from the Holden Police Department. Swatting gets people killed and is designed to cause fear. I could have easily died if I had attacked the Holden Police Department, the Holden police officer who was at my door. The Holden Police Department has since filed a criminal complaint in this court for a false 911 call. But Martin has indicated that he's not sorry and he will do it again until an order is granted. I will never be able to sleep and my family will always live in fear so long as Zachary Martin is allowed to continue to harass us, put us in fear, and weaponize the police department against us under false pretenses.
You keep on using a term swatting. I don't know what that is.
Swatting is the act of...
Judge doesn't know what swatting is.
Sir, once again, please don't interrupt this court. Go ahead.
Swatting is the act of calling in a false 911 call indicating that somebody is threatening to hurt themselves or threatening to cause harm to another person, to alert the police and send them with the intent of provoking a reaction in which people are killed. This happens a lot. It's all over the news. People have been arrested for it. They call and they say, oh, so and such a person has a gun. They're going to hurt someone. Can you please send the police over there? So the police come over there thinking that there is a person with a gun who's trying to hurt themselves or another person, and they are on high alert. The person doesn't know what's going on. The person sees, people banging on the door. The person defends themselves against the police and gets shot.
And what evidence do you have that this was actually Mr. Martin that made these statements and did these things? Have you talked to him on a regular basis?
He contacts me frequently on various phone numbers. I'll block them and then I'll
So
call
you're
him.
able to recognize his voice?
I'm able to recognize his voice. I'm also able to recognize his voice on the 911 call, which I do have. I could play for you if you'd like. It's a 5-minute call.
Okay. And so you recognize his voice when he threatened to do physical harm to you on a number of different occasions? And
Yes, and the phone number that he gave the 911 dispatcher, on which we have tape of, is 616-383-5728. Your Honor, I have screenshots here of text messages that he sent me from that phone number in which he threatens to come to my house. He says that he's outside the house, and that he does confirm it's a threat, and to kiss the wife and kids goodbye one last time, if you'd like to see that.
all right, no, I take you at your word. Mr. Martin, thank you for your patience. I guess my first question is, did you make these statements?
A lot of the statements are not true. They're fabricated.
So you're saying you never made these statements? You say a lot of them. What statements did you make?
Well, so I've never threatened physical harm on this man. That's fabricated. This man has threatened physical harm on me before on his show during a recording, which he did not say was recorded, which is illegal in his state. He has a history of telling people on his show and personally that he was going to kill himself. He's also lying. It was not a SWAT call. It was a wellness check that was made in concern for this man, being that he is to be believed to be suicidal. His show is dedicated to the harassment of various people. And so I've called him a couple times, but I can't say that I've ever pulled up or gone to somebody's house. I am multiple states away from this man and pose absolutely no physical threat. So that again is another lie. I've never been to this man's house, nor the state he lives in, nor intend to whatsoever. That is also a lie.
All right. Is there anything else you want to say?
Yeah, I have no intention of contacting this man ever again. It is not worth the time or effort that has been wasted here by all these people. And that's it. I just intend never to talk about or to this guy ever again.
All right. Anything else you want to say?
I am sorry. Yeah. As for not being sympathetic, that's not true. That's not true at all. As for this, yes, I'm sympathetic to this whole thing, and I think I lost my cool. Yeah, that wasn't good. But, I, kind of see that and realize, yeah, it's not good to do that. So, yeah, like I said, I don't intend to talk to this guy ever again after this.
All right. Thank you. After hearing, the court does find the criteria for the issuance of this harassment prevention order on Mass General Laws, Chapter 258E has been met. There are 3 orders I'm making. You ordered not to abuse or harass the plaintiff, not to contact him directly, indirectly, through third parties, through social media or internet or any form of the like. You ordered to stay at least 10 yards away from this person. And you ordered to stay at least 10 yards or 30 feet away from 14 Mason Road in Holden, Massachusetts. This order will be in effect for 1 year or 1 year date.
1 year date, Your Honor, is April 16th, 24.
15th or 16th?
16th, Judge, 1/6.
Mr. Kearney, you can get a copy of the order in the clerk's office. Mr. Martin, you can, we're going to send a copy of the order down to the Boynton Beach, Florida Police to serve you. I will ask the clerk to note on the docket that I have gone over the terms of this order with the plaintiff orally here today. It is considered to be served orally by this court. The next court date on this matter will be April 16th, 2024 at 9 o'clock. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
You're free to leave the meeting, Mr. Martin, or not.
Yeah.